Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous Roundtable gets together. We'll see what kind of controversies they get into, but between now and then, some great guests and important information coming your way. In fact, this will be the first of a series of interviews we're going to be doing with the 7 candidates running for Congress in the newly formed 6 congressional districts, so stay tuned for that. We'll also find out how we can live healthy in the new year. A very special guest from UNCG will be here for that. But first, we turn our attention to something very serious and very, very vital to our whole community, and that's the training of EMTs, paramedics. And we have 3 very special guests with us who are going to help us through this topic. On my immediate right, our good buddy David Daggett. David is, of course, attorney with Daggett Schuler. He and his partner, Griff Schuler, are here with a very special guest. Carrie Cross is EMS training supervisor for Guilford County Emergency Services. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Thank you, Jim.
Griff and David, I'm going to ignore you for just a second, go right to Carrie. How long have you been training paramedics, and when was this academy started?
The academy was started about 19 years ago. I came in about 5 years ago from the field, so I spent 22 years in the field, and this is my 5th year in training.
Well, now, Carrie, how much training is required if I want to become, not me because I'm too old at this point, but I mean, but if I want to become an EMT, a paramedic, how much training is involved?
Typically for your basic EMT level, you're looking at about 3 months. For your paramedic level, you're looking at around 2 years, but we condensed that into our internal academy in about 10 months.
Okay, so with 10 months, I mean, what kind of, give me, you don't have to give me the whole list of things you teach, but give me a couple examples of things that you will teach to these men and women.
So first they start out with anatomy and physiology, and then they go into a lot of cardiology, trauma management, pulmonology, psych. Those
are some tough topics.
Oh yeah, they're pretty deep.
And you don't fluff over them. I mean, they have to pass these things,
yes,
right?
Well, that's one thing we quality's our number one thing. So
speaking of equality, somebody that I understand, I heard through the grapevine that you have a very special guest that comes over periodically and speaks to you. David Daggett, tell me about this thing.
Well, first of all, I don't get to call him Carrie. He makes me call him Captain Cross.
So you call him whatever you need to.
But no, I've had the fortune of being a guest lecturer and instructor at the Paramedic Academy ever since Captain Cross took over the academy.
What would you teach?
I teach on mitigating risk. So how do you keep from having a claim against you, both from following solid principles, but also on issues of medical records documentation.
Wow, I didn't think about that.
And those sort of things.
That's pretty important.
But it's pretty comprehensive. He gives me an hour and I speak for 3 hours. So it works out great.
Griff, I know that you and David and your team have helped a lot of people who have, through no fault of their own, been injured, hurt, or something. So you have a special affinity for the work that Carrie does. How so?
Yeah, because obviously what our law firm does in part is to represent folks that have been injured through particular car accidents. And you think about it, our first responders are so important to our community. And we've seen firsthand how important it is to have quality EMS workers that are there on the scene from the very beginning, giving aid from the very beginning. And we've seen instances where what happened at the crash scene with the EMS workers made a significant difference, saved a life, made someone's overall condition better right there from being able to know how to do things. So the community, our community, really benefits through this type of intense training.
I want to mention, this is the 19th year of Guilford County's paramedic program. Yeah. And it's the largest class they've ever had. And I went in this year and I was literally wowed by the quality and the character of the students in there. And I think we should all be proud that our community is better and safer because of your efforts.
And we're in good hands. Congratulations.
We appreciate that.
Carrie, before time runs out, let me ask you, is there still, maybe this is a stupid question because of the success that David just mentioned, but is there still a big demand for paramedics in the job market nationwide?
Absolutely, and the demand is growing every day nationwide. There's a lot of services that are shutting down. There's a lot of services that are struggling with lack of personnel, and we're certainly in that same boat. It's just hard to fill and keep them keep them there.
And I promised Carrie I'd put this up on screen. It's a Facebook thing. It's a Guilford County EMS at Guilford County EMS. Please go to that if you're interested in hooking up there with getting training. And he just does such a fine job there and the whole team. And also, please visit daggettschulerlaw.com. 724-1234 is the number. If you ever want to reach out to the guys and need their help, please do that. But we have 3 guys who help people, and I'm honored to be sitting with all 3 of you.
Thanks, Jim.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having us.
We'll be right back. Back now on Triad Today, and it's time to meet one of the candidates running in the newly formed 6th Congressional District, which includes Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, all of Guilford, and much of Forsyth. Laura Picardo graduated UNCG with a degree in economics, then obtained her master's in business administration from Winston-Salem State University. She is a global transaction services accounts payable analyst for Hanes Brands, and she's on the ballot for the March 3rd Republican primary. Welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you.
Good to see you. All right, I have to ask this. Why are you running?
I'm running for Congress to implement a debt reduction strategy. Of course, we all know we have $23 trillion of debt outstanding, and I want to target those as much as possible. I want to implement a bill to have all government buildings to be ran by renewable energy.
Okay. Now let me pick at you a little bit. Since you're an economics major and everything, I'm sure you got this fleshed out in your mind. What are some things you want to try to bring down the debt? Have you given that any thought? I know it's not a fair question because you're not up there yet in Congress, but what are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about digging through the data. I need to see where are we spending our funds and are they the best options for us? What is the most efficient way to spend? Like for instance, on facility services, is there a way we can implement renewable energy so that the solar panels harness the Earth's energy, and then we have free electricity from the solar panels, of course, after we pay off the energy. And then I'll go back and dig and see why are we spending so much on foreign aid.
All right, that's fair enough. Now, what is it about your background and your experience? Because I mentioned your economics degree, I mentioned your title, the job that you do at Hanes Brands. What in that makes you or will make you an effective congressperson? Because a lot of times people get up there and say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and they get up there and they can't get it done. You know, they get in the system and it's gridlocked and all this thing. What about your background would make you a good congressperson?
I've learned a lot from my fellow professionals at work. I've learned that a lot of the times we have to improve our communications and not let little things deter us from solving a bigger issue. So keeping the doors open, communicating, always finding out who to reach out to find additional information to solve the problem.
That's good. Now, what about, we didn't rehearse this or anything, I'm just curious, what's your viewpoint on term limits for a congressperson? What do you think?
Yes, we should have term limits, maybe 12 to 14, because we need a Speaker of the House. But I believe that the Speaker of the House and the minority leader should be elected by the people after the general election. Because it shouldn't be the same person over and over. It should be a new voice every single time. That way we have more of a strategy implementation when every single Congress runs.
Right. Now, when you said 12 to 14, you meant 12 to 14 years, so
Yes.
you're not 12 to 14 terms. I just want to make sure we're straight on that.
12 to 14 years.
Anything else that you want to say while we still have a little bit of time left about your platform and what you'd like to accomplish?
I want to make sure that the taxes don't go up on anybody's 401k or anybody's retirement, their pensions. I want to protect Social Security because people are dependent on these investments, and they're pulling taxes out of our paychecks for the Social Security. And it's estimated that around 2035, it's going to be depleted. So it's something that we really need to work on to make sure that no American goes hungry in their old age.
Thanks, Laura. Now, you can visit Laura's website at www.laurapicardoforhouseofreps.com. You can also watch this interview again Saturday, February 29th on ABC 45 and Sunday, March 1st on My 48 when we showcase all 7 candidates running for Congress in the 6th District. These voter education segments are made possible in part by the good folks at True Lion Federal Credit Union. Their website is on screen now, truelionfcu.org. Now on Triad Today, and it's time to meet another one of the candidates running in the newly formed 6th Congressional District, which includes Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, all of Guilford, much of Forsyth. Lee Heywood, owns a small business which sells industrial maintenance supplies to commercial and government accounts. He's chaired the North Carolina Republican Party's 6th Congressional District for the past 2.5 years. And we welcome Lee to the program. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. First question, why are you running for Congress?
Well, I decided it was my time. I've been behind the scenes for the past 10 years or so, helping other candidates and causes. And when my good friend Mark Walker decided to bow out of this race and pursue other avenues, I decided it was my time.
All right. Now, what are your priorities? I know you're a businessman, but you've already sort of worn two hats. You've been the businessman, you've been a party chair. You're seeing it from both perspectives.
I have.
What are your priorities?
Well, I've got 3, maybe 4 top priorities, and I added the 4th one this past week or so. The economy, and most specifically the debt. We have got to take care of our spending problem. It's getting worse each year that goes by. It's at $23 trillion now, and there doesn't seem to be any urgency to bring it down to, or even try to get rid of it.
Right.
Second would be the immigration problem. I think I'm with Trump 100%. We need to finish the wall and totally revamp our immigration policy. Third would be education. We need to totally get the Department of Education out of the state's business, totally get rid of it, and turn that power back to the states to run their own education system. And fourth, we've got to protect our Second Amendment rights. After seeing what's going on in Virginia, that just totally scares me.
Well,
And,
why would it scare you?
well, eventually we're going to go down that slippery slope where they're going to come, I believe, eventually take our guns away from us. And I hate to say it, and I don't want to be alarmist, but you look to see what's going on up there. It's a little bit scary.
So are you for these Second Amendment resolutions that are like Second Amendment sanctuary cities and things like that?
I am. If nothing else, it bands people together and makes them realize how important the Second Amendment is.
What about your background and experience would make you an effective congressman? Because we all know there are people that say they want to do certain things, they get up there, they can't get them done. They get swallowed up by the gridlock. Good intentions. What do you think?
It's hard. Well, I've been in small business for, like you said, past 37 years. Been on my own, basically, but the past 10 years or so working with the party, I've had to work with other people, get consensus to get things done. And I believe that experience will help me in Congress. Obviously it's a different animal up there. It's war up there.
And you're used to being your own boss, so I mean that would be a big change, right?
It's a big change, absolutely. But I take on hard tasks. I don't, I don't sit back and let things happen. I've always taken on the hard task, and I'm not scared to go up there and start knocking on some heads and doors.
What about, just a few seconds left, what about term limits? For them, against them?
I'm for them, but I don't think there's any will up there to get those done, get term limits implemented. There's a movement called the Convention of States that might be our best bet to get that done, but until somebody gets serious about it, it's so entrenched up there. Right. I'm not going to make a promise on that.
Okay.
But when I'm elected, I'll do 2 or 3 terms and get out.
All right. Well, we're going to get out right now. Thanks, Lee, for doing this. You can visit Lee's website at leeheywood.net. You can also watch this interview again Saturday, February 29th on ABC 45 and Sunday, March 1st on My 48 when we showcase all 7 candidates running for Congress in the newly formed 6th District. These voter education segments are made possible in part by the good folks at Truliant Federal Credit Union. Their website is on screen, truliantfcu.org. Back now on Triad Today. Always glad when one of our good folks from UNCG can take time to drop by at my alma mater, although as I say, they don't claim me. But this lovely lady is here for a couple good reasons, one of which is we're still enjoying the new year, and there's a way to become healthier in the new year and all that stuff. She's going to help us through that. Next to me, the lovely Regina McCoy. She's professor of public health education and co-director of the Health Coach Training Center at UNCG. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask this as the first question, what is a health coach?
Oh, a health coach is someone who has been trained who can help you reach your ideal goals. It could be you want to improve your overall health or wellness. You want someone to help you with, hey, I just want to get a little bit closer to that ideal weight. I want to find that career that really excites me. A health coach is someone who's going to walk with you, guide you, and then help you see what works for you, because it does need to be individual.
Now, you and I've never met before, so I'm going to ask you a question. I know it's going to sound like a weird question, but do you help, can you help anybody not just get in shape and be healthier, but is it work on two levels? Can you help them also sort of be a good health coach?
I can, absolutely. So I want to do both of those things, and we do at UNCG. We help them first. How do you help people, clients, they can be patients, identify what those goals are for themselves so they can be healthier, but also we train health coaches. We're concerned a little bit that there are people who say, I can help you. I can be your health coach, your lifestyle coach, but they haven't had those fundamentals. And so we have a training program. We also have a post-baccalaureate certificate where you can come back and learn all of those strategies and methodologies that help you, help your clients, your patients get to their better you.
Well, we could probably spend an hour talking about all the things that you help them learn, that you teach. Give me a few examples, quick examples of things that you're going to teach me if I become one of your clients, somebody you're going to help get healthier and teach to be a health coach.
Absolutely. If you were coming to me to learn to be a health coach, and I'm hoping that when you do come, the one thing that we'll do first is say, how do you get to someone's values? How do you help someone understand that their vision for themselves, their better self, needs to be connected to their values? We also going to talk about self-efficacy, those things that help you be confident about can I do this? We hear a lot about motivation, but motivation sometimes is that external thing. We're going to talk about internal, intrinsic motivation. How do you get someone to motivate themselves so that when no one else is around or the bucks aren't there, they're still able to do it?
That's such a hard thing, whether it's smoking cessation or weight loss or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Dealing with alcohol. It's just hard to motivate yourself into anything, isn't it?
It is. There's so many things out there that...
Yeah, what would you say is the overall mission of the work you do?
My overall mission for me is I've been at UNC Greensboro for 21 years. So I'm about the students. I'm really about how can I help students stay locally here in North Carolina or even going outside, but have that career that they're really excited about. So I want health coaches to be excited about what they do.
Well, now that we're in the new year, before time gets away from us, I want some quick advice on how we can eat healthier or be healthier or whatever, because I see all these ads on TV and they all seem to be the same thing. Do this, do that, and I don't think a lot of them work sometimes. I don't know. What's your advice?
My advice is to first think about where do you want to be, not just this year, but in 5 years. And I want you to think about what are you excited about so that you can then link that to that goal that you have. So if you're going to the gym, do know that gym memberships spike in January because they know by March or April you're not going to be there.
Right.
So I want you to find those things that you can do in your everyday life right now, that small change that you can stick with.
Before time gets away, I want to put up some information on screen. healthcoaching.uncg.edu. I'm going to say it again for the radio listening audience. healthcoaching.uncg.edu. You can find out lots of good information on that. We have about 15 seconds left. Who influenced you to go into this field?
I would have to say it's my leader, Dr. Dan Bebo, who started the health coaching programs with me.
Very good. I bet as a little girl you were motivating people to be better, weren't you?
You don't have to tell everybody, but kind of, sort of.
I was always in trouble as a little boy. I was not a motivator. Anyway, thanks for all the great work you do.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Will you come back and see us sometime?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Regina.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back. All right, today it's just about time for the roundtable, and I'd like just to do this one note about an event coming up that you might want to go to. It's called New Year, New You, Thursday, January 30th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Cadillac Service Garage in Greensboro. That's not where they fix cars. That's a really nice venue for events. You can RSVP to the website on screen, wakehealth.edu/New You. So I hope you'll do that. Now, speaking of three guys that are always new no matter what, they always seem new. And next to me on my right, but always political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster journalist. Next to him, Dr. Don Martin, professor at High Point University and vice chair of the Forsyth County Commissioners. Next to him, founder of Helping Hands Consultants Worldwide, Keith Granberry, doing great work all over everywhere. Guys, let's get right to it. An increasing number of counties are passing Second Amendment sanctuary resolutions, with some sheriffs saying they will not enforce any new gun laws. First question is, are these resolutions necessary? The other question is, does the rhetoric behind them worry you? And the third question is, will they discourage passage of much-needed gun laws? Let's tackle all 3 points to that, Ogie.
Well, it's a sad situation, Jim. It makes me very sad, and it's such a big question that it's not going to be settled anytime soon. Somehow we're going to have to get to the root of the fear-based and hate-based behavior that causes somebody to feel the need to wear an AK-47 in public for whatever reason it is. It's just very sad. I don't think it'll have much effect on the gun laws, but they're clearly on the wrong side of history.
Don Martin.
Well, the resolutions are not necessary, but basically they're just symbolic. They're symbolic issues because basically every politician swears to uphold the Constitution, and what they're asking, would you agree to uphold the Constitution? Yes.
Well, you guys are supposed to take a vote on it soon, right?
Soon is coming up. We're discussing it tomorrow, actually.
But why
Yes.
have it?
I just think I think there's a belief that if local, this is a further evidence that local people said don't mess with our gun laws. But basically we're going to enforce laws.
Keith.
It's really not local people. I think it's the national marketing of this of the gun issues that people who have billions of dollars are marketing for political points. This is all about politics, and it's not about the Second Amendment, but you use that to score political
Selling
points.
guns.
And the gun laws are not going to change because there's too much money in these gun lobbyists, and unless you have a major change in government in the next year, you're going to have the same issues again and again.
All right, changing topics here. The basketball coach at North Carolina A&T was recently suspended, and the media was told only that it was, quote, a personnel matter. Now, I don't want to, this question is not about A&T. In general, should taxpayer-supported schools and agencies be required to reveal the reason for an employee being suspended or fired? Don't we have a right to know, Ogie?
We do, but well, I would like to know. I'm not sure if I have a right to know that. There are certain personal problems that really are really none of my business. But I really would like to know. I'm wondering why it hadn't come out.
Don Martin.
Well, I don't think the public has a right to know on an employee matters. I think if someone breaks the law, then it's going to become public and you're going to know about it. If you haven't broken the law, it's an issue. I mean, there can be personality conflicts.
Privacy
there can be,
thing.
you said the wrong thing.
Keith.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Don in that I think that we can put something out there to destroy a person's reputation when there may be disagreements with athletic directors or something like
Teachers
that,
or
teachers or
supervisors.
something like that. And I don't think that you should smear a person's name based on allegations. And right now we're talking allegations.
All right, a school district in upstate New York has installed facial recognition devices in their high schools in order to detect guns or determine if someone is a sex offender or has a record of violence. It automatically checks through the system. Supporters say the technology keeps kids safe. Critics say it's an invasion of privacy. Guys, what do you think about this? And should we install facial recognition devices in our public schools here? Ogie Overman.
I just think it's a sad commentary on where we come as a society, Jim. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's necessary.
You don't need them.
I don't think so.
Don Martin, you've directed.
Well, I don't have a privacy problem with it, but I would have issues about in the weeds. How many false positives do you get? How many people do you miss? How much time does it take, and how much does it cost? And we have a lot of needs in education, and yes, safety is number one, but I'm not so sure that's going to necessarily make us safe.
Keith Granberry.
I think they should to look at this face recognition and how much it costs. And how about putting it in the books in some of these failing schools, get more teachers in these schools, provide these kids with lunches that don't have money. I think that's where the money should go. And then you have security. If you want to do security, then many of them already have, put security there, but this face recognition is just something for the future, and all the police and stuff will be having it
Well, they
within the
say if
next several
somebody
years.
was a wife beater or a kid beater or something like that, and it's on his record, they say that these things would pick it up quickly.
Yeah, but also I think there's also a discriminating factor about that. We all know that there's a lot of people who they pick out indirectly based on their race, and that could be a problem as well. I don't like it at all.
All right. Speaking of schools, a New Jersey lawmaker wants to make cursive writing mandatory again, as it used to be prior to the dawn of the digital age. Is there still a need for students to learn cursive, guys? And would you like to see it taught again? Ogie Overman.
Absolutely. I couldn't believe it had been taken out of curriculums. I mean, that's part of who you are, is how you write. It's Come on.
And still legal documents, you need to sign
gotta
those.
sign
Don,
your
what do you
name.
think?
Well, in Forsyth County, I can tell you it's still taught. And it takes very little time. It's not a lot of practice in school. You go home and practice it, but it is taught. It is still taught.
Keith?
I wish somebody would have taught me. I still don't know how to write. But no. I think it should be taught, and I think most schools are still using it. Most teachers are still using it. But
Yeah.
I think it should be taught.
Not up in, where did I say? Was that New Jersey? Yeah, well, I guess they're not doing it up there. We'll have to go up there and talk to them about it. Finally, guys, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania say that people with fat tongues snore more than people with skinny tongues, and they recommend that people try and lose weight in their tongue. Guys, do you have a fat tongue? And if so, do you plan to go on a tongue diet? Ogie.
I know you want a snarky answer.
I know
Jim,
you
but
do. I know
swear
he does.
Every time. But the truth is, that's real. I have a dear friend who had to have tongue surgery because her tongue was too fat. I'm
They did
serious.
not. They did?
They do that.
Don
Yeah.
Martin,
I think mine is fine.
you're such a braggart. Keith, what do you think about this whole lose weight in your tongue thing?
Well, let me see here.
Do you think people have fat tongues?
I'm sure there are people with fat tongues and big mouths. I mean, there's a whole bunch of
loose tongues.
There's all kind of stuff.
Yeah, I said something to Ogie one time I shouldn't have.
I
Ogie
think there's
gave me
a
a fat
correlation
lip.
between
Yeah.
being a big mouth
Yeah,
and a
Ogie
fat
gave me a
tongue.
fat
Yeah,
lip. It was
that's right.
horrible. All right, well, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Students in Indonesia were recently given baby chicks to care for instead of spending so much time on their smartphones and social media. Said one boy, "Hey, what's the problem? I already spend a lot of time with chicks." Smart boy, wasn't he, Ogie?
He was.
All right, for all of us here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.